Ready? Chapter 4 Meeting. Joa had been waiting all night in the same spot. If Lia had been able to cut the time in half by running, she should be here with Atle today. Joa was both curious and hesitant to move forward. He had been waiting for this moment for so long. 30 years had gone by since the first 2 mages were created. The last 17 of those years had been a bitter feud. It had grown exponentially over the years. What had started as just a few mages eventually turned into a battle with one army of mages against another. Ayla had found him when he was only 12 years old, wandering alone with only a knife in his hand. The same knife he had used to cut his father's throat. The same father who had taken liberties with him that a grown man should never take with a child. He had seen the life leaving his father's eyes while the blood sprayed along the wall. To this day there was nothing he enjoyed more than the sight of blood. A lost cause they had called him when he was thrown out of the house, left to fend for himself. But as luck had it, he crossed paths with Ayla instead. She had trained him to be an elite soldier, just like her. He had fought in her army for one purpose and one purpose only. The promise Ayla had made him 17 years ago. If he joined her in defeating her brother and his allies, they would look for their creator again. The day when a truce would be laid out between the armies, they would look for her together, and they would not stop until she was found. Ever since he was a child, Ayla had told him stories of their creator, the woman whose blood had forged them all, made them stronger and faster than they ever thought possible. Ayla was the one who had made him into a mage, but it was with their creator's blood. Without it, he would probably not even have lived to see his 13th birthday. It gave his life purpose, it gave him meaning. He had wanted to meet his creator for so long. Now, as he was so close to her, he could even feel her. That blood of hers had helped Ayla build an army of thousands of soldiers. Yet they had very scarce information on their creator's abilities. All they knew about her was that her blood had given them all extraordinary bodies and abilities. They had no clue what else she was hiding. "You think he'll move today?" Kian rested his chin on his knees and looked towards the river bank with a blank expression. No response. "You didn't sleep at all during the night, did you?" Aino had been staring at the same tree for the past few hours. If boredom needed a perfect example, this would be it. "I don't need to sleep. My body doesn't need to recover. I only sleep when I feel like my mind needs a break," she answered with her eyes wide open, still staring at the same tree. "Well," Keon slowly turned his head towards her. "I think your mind needs a break right now. I have never before seen anyone look so intensely at a tree." Aino blinked a few times. "Nah, I'm good." Keon didn't seem convinced. "How about food?" She appeared a bit confused in regards to the question. "What do you mean?" Keon looked at her. "We've been here for almost 24 hours. You're not hungry?" "I mean, I'm starving." Keon couldn't ignore his growling stomach any longer. He hadn't been moving much, so hadn't been wasting much energy, but his stomach was completely empty. Aino looked at him. "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't need to eat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can and I like it, but I don't have to. Do you want to go look for something?" She stood up and started walking. About 3 steps in, her eyes rolled back and she fell to the ground. Keon stood up right away and walked over to her. She sure didn't look like an immortal god from where he was standing. He grabbed her shoulders to shake some life back into her. Suddenly a vision of a giant building on fire flashed before his eyes. He let go of her immediately. What just happened? Atle looked at the cloak of the woman running in front of him. Why had Joa sent a second lieutenant to get him? He tried not to feel offended, but it did sting. He was the Lieutenant General of Nila's blood army. He had earned that position. Nila was a hothead. He wasn't. He was a problem solver down to the bone, and this time he had gotten his will. He had pushed for a truce for a long time, and when it finally came, he felt like his battle was won. In all honesty, he didn't like wars. He never enjoyed his time on the battlefield. No matter what the end result would be from meeting his creator, he hoped that the truth would last. He never wanted to face another mage on the battlefield again. The riverbank could be seen from afar. Joa stood there, waiting for them. Atle turned his head towards the forest. He felt the pull. Like the blood in his veins were screaming for her. She was in there. They slowed down and stopped beside Joa. The two lieutenant generals nodded reluctantly at each other. The tension could be felt in the air as they moved together towards the forest. Aino pulled herself up from the ground. She had fainted. She looked over at Kion, who had moved further away from her. He stood staring at her with a troubled expression. Had he touched her while she was unconscious? What had he seen? Then she felt them. There were more of them now. Two of them were moving through the forest, towards her. I hope you're ready for an adventure, Kion, because some mages are about to give us one, she said to him. The lieutenant generals moved past the trees in silence. The closer they got, the more intense the pull became. There was no doubt she was the one they were looking for. Aino and Kion both turned their heads at the same time to look at the two men stepping out in front of them. Kion hadn't been lying, Aino thought to herself. Both the mages were giants. They had to have been well above 2 meters. The two officers held their breath. After so long, they finally stood face to face with their creator. I am Atle Sagason, Lieutenant General of Nila's blood army. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Aino, he said and bowed for her. And I am Joa Stark, Lieutenant General of Ayla's blood army. I've been looking forward to meeting you, Aino. He took a bow for her as well. Kion looked with a wondering expression at the two giants towering above him. He hadn't expected such a courteous meeting between them all. Aino had already told him what her endgame was. But what did the mages want?